Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Schaefer take it at 8, calling the game, and Fletch will get you the pregame starting at 7. Oregon open as a 1.5 point favorite. They've been bet up to 2.5. Need better sleep? Score huge deals on your perfect bed at Mattress Firm's Black Friday sale. Stop in today and let the sleep experts find the right upgrade for your unique needs. Mattress Firm, they make sleep easy.
Fletch Zone.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Into the Fletch Zone.
Not like other guys.
Sound off like you got a pair.
Who knew in February this would happen?
San Diego FC are advancing to the Western Conference Final.
From a first-year team to the MLS Final Four, we talk about the game and what Saturday means to the city. A rough night for Aztec hoops out in Vegas. They look to bounce back today versus Oregon. And there was some football last night.
Purdy with some time throws the slant to Jennings. Jennings breaks the contact at the 5 and walks into the end zone.
The patchwork 49ers win again.
The 49ers will defeat the Carolina Panthers here tonight, 20-9. The final score.
Look at Fletch just grinning over there.
Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy.
A busy day on tap as we enter the Fletch Zone.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Tuesday. What's going on, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim. Well, John will take over from Las Vegas. Jay Riff is going to be back today as well. A busy couple of days here on San Diego Sports 760. So we advertised yesterday as a massive sports day in San Diego, and it was. Yes, the 49ers did win. Thank you very much. Tons of Niners fans all throughout San Diego. So we got to watch that game in glee, even through 3 first-half interceptions. No, I kid. What happened down at Snapdragon Stadium was nothing short of incredible last night. San Diego FC in their inaugural season advances to the Final Four, just like Sammy told you in the update, just like Big Voice Guy told you in the open there. It's impressive. It's amazing what they've done down at Snapdragon Stadium this season. And last night's game was one of those kind of magical moments because Anders Dreyer, the guy who gets you there, the guy who's been that dude all season long, where nobody here knew his name coming into the season, but he is the runner-up to MVP of Lionel Messi. He's been one of the best players in the MLS all season long. He's the guy that gets the goal on one of the coolest assists, that little kind of behind the back kick. I don't know at the end line. I'm trying to act it out right now.
I know he said when he saw the ball coming, he said he was just going to hit it as hard as possible. That's what he said post game.
Corner pocket, nailed it.
Lethal. And to think about this team, like just as kind of to your point, Anders Dreyer was not supposed to be the star of this team. It was, Milan Alaski for a lot of the season was the guy that when people started to get excited about this team and their possible run through the Western Conference in the MLS playoffs, you're thinking about Milan Alaski, and then he leaves. And you think a lot of times, okay, season 1, this is a turning point in the season where we could see it go downhill, but they're able to kind of withstand all of that. Then you think Chucky Lozano is going to be the guy. And then all the drama that happened with him, getting benched, not playing, him and the coaching staff. And he's still a fantastic player. No disrespect to Chucky Lozano, because they're going to need him for the next couple games, hopefully. But Anders Dreyer, that was just an electric environment. Watching it on TV, just super stoked for the city, and can't wait for this game on Saturday night.
It was amazing, man. You'll hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 Saturday night. I believe kick time is what? Is it 6 or is it 5? I can't remember.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. And then, by the way, tonight, the SDFC Midweek Live, you'll hear right here on San Diego Sports 760 beginning at 6 o'clock. And then as soon as that gets off the air, I'll be on the air with Aztecs basketball, which is the other thing that was going on last night. They were playing against Michigan, number 7 in the country, out in Las Vegas. And man, oh man, did that game have a lot of reminiscing in my mind, because that felt very, very similar to the Aztecs' final game a season ago when they played against North Carolina in the NCAA tournament. San Diego State ends up losing by 40 last night, which I'll be honest, I didn't even think was possible coming into this year with the program that Dutch has, with the defense that they play. But that's exactly what happened. Look, they got punched in the mouth last night. I think the deficit at halftime was like 12. And then in the second half, it was all Michigan. And we can get into it. We could talk about the way Michigan kind of bullied the Aztecs last night. Tons of offensive rebounds, tons of second chance points for the Wolverines. San Diego State got outplayed in pretty much every facet of that game. And it's one of those where, thank God, in college basketball, every once in a while, you have a game the next night, because San Diego State will play again tonight against Oregon. And while, yeah, Oregon's not as good as Michigan, Oregon's a damn good basketball team as well. So San Diego State, essentially, they need to win today or else they're playing on Thanksgiving. And that's not the end of the world. Yes, it makes my life a little harder, but it's not about me. But they need to win today or else they're playing on Thanksgiving. That way they play tomorrow night or tomorrow morning, depending on how everything slates out in this Players Era Invitational. But it's got to be more than Sammy. By stepping on the court last night, you get $1 million in NIL. And that's great. But that's the least amount of concern for fans, for anybody watching this. The fact of the matter is you get on the court, you get into this tournament because it guarantees you're going to be playing some ranked opponents in the non-conference schedule when you know you're not going to have that on your Mountain West schedule. So for that opportunity last night, which literally would have erased the Troy loss for San Diego State, to go out there and lay an egg, hugely disappointing for the Aztecs.
Yeah, it was disappointing. Listen, it was one thing for them to not win that game and keep it close. The spread was 5.5, and they got dismantled. They got beat by 40. As you said, they got outplayed in every facet of the game. No beating around the bush. Michigan took it to them. I thought you could see Coach Dutcher trying to match the size of Michigan by throwing out, Miles Heide and Pharaoh Compton. These guys trying to kind of match the front court depth. And in no way am I blaming these guys for the loss. No one played very well. It's just the lack of scoring coming from the front court was so lopsided in terms of favoring Michigan. And then the guards, it feels like there's so many talented guards on this team. But outside of Elsie Harrington last night, there just really wasn't any consistency coming from Reese Waters, Miles Bird. Not that they can't get there, and I'm with you. It's probably good that they get right back out on the court because that's just you
gotta flush it.
But that's the kind of game that you look at the tape and you burn it because it was so bad, honestly, just from all aspects. Listen, Michigan's a damn good team, but at the same time, the hopes that we've all had in San Diego for San Diego State is that they're on that kind of level. They were disrespected not being in the top 25 early on to start the season. Well, obviously they haven't proven that they are a top 25 team yet with the loss to Michigan and that ugly loss to Troy. Listen, I expect them to have a lot of fight tonight. They kind of got beat from the get-go, but as you said, like, they're not playing in the Big 12. Not to say the Mountain West basketball is not tough because there's a lot of very solid teams. It's a lot like the Pac-12 used to be in football. There was a lot of good teams, but there wasn't a lot of highly ranked teams. So it was just tough for the schedule. You're not playing the Big 12, but you're playing, ranked opponents every night and get this back. This is a big next two games for the Aztecs. They really need to win this game tonight, this early on in the season.
It's huge. After the Troy loss, they dropped, I think, 10 spots in the metrics. After last night, they dropped another 17. So they've gone from 30 to 57 in KenPom over the last two games. Beating Oregon by a lot would help you out a lot in that scenario. So that's kind of what it's come down to here. And this Players Era Invitational is such an opportunity for you to improve your metrics. It can also be an opportunity for you to fall down in a big way and force you in a situation where you have to win the Mountain West Championship, which, by the way, this is my least favorite and most favorite part about college basketball. The fact that games in the middle of November can impact so heavily what's going to happen in March. But that's just the case of the game. And you got a ton of college basketball programs. A lot of them are very good. The disparity, by the way, Michigan spends about $12 million on their roster every year. And I think you saw that play out last night. So we'll see, man. Tonight, Oregon, 8 o'clock. Big one for the Aztecs. Can't wait for it. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you. Text line still broken. Hoping to get that fixed after Thanksgiving. We got plenty coming up. Big Stan coming on.
Big Stan coming on at 1:30. Please hit our YouTube or DM us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. We also got the little red talkback mic. So if you want to leave some messages.
You want to talk about the talkback mic?
We love the talkback mic.
Talkback mic. If you open up the free iHeartRadio app, you find this little red microphone icon right in the top right-hand corner when you're listening to San Diego Sports 760. You can leave us up to 30 seconds. It goes right to Sammy's computer.
We're playing them. So please leave us something, anything.
We can listen to your voice all day long. If you want to sing a song,
feel free.
Let's get to the big three, Sammy. Big Stan Lazinski's our fantasy football expert. He's going to be joining us at 1:30, having him on Tuesday today because of the holiday instead of on Wednesday. Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Sammy, where are we going today?
We're going to your San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you.
Beating the Carolina Panthers 20-9 last night. Purdy gets 3 interceptions in the first half, but does come back, play much better in the second. The defense was fantastic early. Can the 49ers win the NFC?
Win the NFC? Probably not. Make the postseason? Absolutely. I think they're at like a I think I looked last night. It was at about
Where
80%.
would you stack your Niners in the NFC if we'll do it that way?
4th.
Behind...
Give me the Rams. Give me the Seahawks. Stupid Eagles. And
in the Lions or no?
See, that's okay. So Eagles, Lions, Niners, I have in a very similar category. Because at times this year, they look like they could beat anybody. The Niners did. They beat the Rams earlier this season on Thursday Night Football. And at times this year, they look extremely disjointed, which, by the way, I would say last night, the Niners looked extremely disjointed. It was not a pretty football game by any stretch of the imagination, but they got the win. So give me Eagles, Lions, Niners tied for third in the NFC right now.
Okay.
Is that fair? Above the Packers?
I would say you're above the Packers.
Above the Bears?
Yep. I think that's fair. I will give your Niners credit. Brock Purdy, I got to give him credit because
that young defense, man.
That's where I'm giving credit for it. The young defense, in a weird way, because I think the injuries of Fred Warner, Mykel Williams, Nick Bosa, I think at the end of the day is going to hold you back in the NFC. But in a blessing in disguise, could be down the road the best thing that ever happened in this team is that showing that the amount of young talent that is happening with that is stout. There's so many guys on defense that were just playing well last night. Adding them all back in next year, going to make for one of the best defenses in the league. Brock Purdy was a really rough first half for him, able to kind of respond in the second. I think the Niners, there's a ceiling because, again, it's the Panthers. I don't know that the defense is going to be able to hold up against the Rams or the Philly or all those teams, Detroit. But what I'm curious, though, is if the Niners are winning, but they're kind of skidding on offense, is there pressure to start Mac Jones late in the year?
Obviously, social media was a flutter last night after the third interception with put Mac in. It's time for the Mac attack. I don't think this year anything changes. This is Brock Purdy's team. We were talking about this before the show. Mark Ziegler was on with John Schaefer yesterday, and he made a point about Magoon Guac that I thought was perfect. He said, sometimes the guy coming back from injury or coming back after a long layoff, that first game back, you can't miss. You play pretty well because you're completely out of your head because all you're thinking about is being back on the court. It's the second game back that you realize, oh, I have expectations. I'm supposed to be this good all the time. Well, we saw that with Brock Purdy play out in real time. Game 1 against the Cardinals, he was crisp. He didn't make any mistakes. He looked perfect. Game 2 against the Panthers last night, look, it's not like he was making the wrong read on throws. He was throwing behind guys. He was underthrowing guys. That's what the 3 interceptions were. And then in the second half, you saw him really settle down.
And the one J.C. Horn pick was a great play by J.C. Horn.
I'd say a lot of them were good defensive plays, but they were all bad throws. They were all either behind the guy or underthrown completely. So for Brock Purdy, I think that he needed to get that out. And now moving forward, we're going to see the guy. What he gives you that Mac Jones never gets close to giving you is the mobility. Like you could see it last night. Brock escaping the pocket. He was masterful at times doing that.
I do think it was a precedent from your Niners. There is the schedule upcoming. Very light, so I do think the Niners are going to get in the playoffs. And I think depending on a matchup, I think they could win a game. I don't see the Niners as the elite of the NFC.
I'll tell you, it's rare that I'm watching a 49ers game and I don't know who every single person on the field is. Last night, I didn't know a lot of the defenders for the 49ers. They are rotating guys in that I had never heard of, which is rare for me to sit down and watch a game and be like, who the hell's that guy? And then those guys are making massive plays. Robert Saleh does a hell of a job. What's next?
Sticking with the NFL, it's Adam Schefter just reporting as of a couple minutes ago. Running back Amarian Hampton, rookie, is designated back from IR for the Chargers. He's missed the last month and a half of the season. What is your ceiling for the Chargers? Do you think they're a playoff team? Ceiling and floor? Do you think they could win a couple games? Where are you at with them?
I think they can make the playoffs, but that is about their ceiling to me. I don't see this as a team that can win 1 or 2 games in the postseason. And that would have changed had Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater been here for the season. I do feel like the Chargers were kind of doomed from the get-go. Look, you pay a left tackle the most amount of money any left tackle's ever gotten. You're expecting him to be on the field, and he's going to be a huge part of your game. Rashawn Slater goes down in the offseason. All of a sudden, you're playing with one arm tied behind your back. But, hey, guess what? Joe Alt playing amazing, filling in for him. Joe Alt goes down. Like, they've been kind of screwed from the get-go. And Amarian Hampton, the running back who had some real nice juice at the beginning of the year, he goes down with injury. Unfortunately, it does feel like the Chargers are stake-bitten this year. It's probably not going to work out. Watch out for them next year. And that's kind of the thing with the Chargers, isn't it? You could say that every year. Watch out for the Chargers next year. If they get healthy, man, next year their ceiling's much higher. This year, unfortunately, they're either just missing the playoffs or getting knocked down.
The Chargers are always the king of the offseason.
King of the offseason.
But, yes, in terms of if you're a Charger fan, the tackles not being there is a big deal because you were good. Now the interior offensive line is a problem, but you were literally going to have a case for the best tackle combo in the league. And look what Herbert was doing earlier on the year with just one of those tackles. I mean, he was fantastic in the MVP conversation after the first month of the year. I do think there's a ceiling with the Chargers. Hampton being back does allow Herbert to kind of get the ball out of his hand quickly, in which will help with such a bad offensive line. But I do think they're kind of setting up for next year. I'm very curious. They're going to play the Raiders this week, next Monday night against the Eagles. So that's a big game for Justin Herbert in terms of you want to put the Chargers back on the map, the kind of hype train that was starting the first month of the year. You go win that game. I think it's definitely a different conversation.
All right, one more quickie.
Lakers and Clippers playing tonight from Crypto in LA. Are you more disappointed in the Clippers 5-12 start to the season, or impressed with the Lakers 12-4 start to the season?
I'm going to go impressed with the Lakers, and let's give Sammy a big head immediately. But the Lakers have dealt with so many injuries. They're keeping it above water. You're starting to see the biggest problem with the Lakers in the postseason last year was role players coming off the bench and their lack of depth. This year, they seem to have it. Like, it's a big problem checked, and I'm going to give JJ Redick a lot of credit for this. The coaching of the Lakers so far through this season has been fantastic. And the young guys who are either rotating in or DeAndre Ayton coming over, everything seems to be working right now for the Lakers. So they get the nod. Although the Clippers, what the hell, man? Steve Ballmer, dude, this experiment's not working out.
Pelinka and JJ Redick, finding Jake LaRavia, DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, all three offseason signings have played a major role in what the Lakers' record is so far. If they hadn't signed those guys, they'd be nowhere close to this. So I am very impressed with the Lakers amid all of the injuries, still kind of meshing with LeBron back in. But the Clippers, I mean, this is what happens when you put a retirement home on the floor. They have Brooke Lopez, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Chris Paul. Where's the young talent? You traded Norman Powell to Miami, the one guy that was supposed to, him and Zubac, kind of grow with the organization once these guys retired. And listen, if they're on the floor together for a game, they can win any given night. But are they really going to go far in the NBA playoffs? Hell no, because even if they even get there, because they're so old and broken boned, you're not holding up over series.
You know, I saw Brooke Lopez and Robin Lopez's brother play in high school.
Really?
Yeah, I was. My brother was at a tournament, and I was up watching him. He was like a sophomore. They were seniors, I think, at that time. And the two of them were playing. I can't remember the team they were on in high school, but they were playing in the same tournament as him. And I'm just watching these. At that time, they were like 6'9", both of them. Super skilled, like athletic. Usually that young, those tall guys, they're not going to be very coordinated. They were amazing.
Rest in peace to the kids that had to go. You're like, hey, you're guarding those twins tonight.
Seriously, because it's high schoolers. Everyone's like 6 foot's considered a big in high school.
Signed up to play.
And you're watching Brooke and Robin Lopez just dominate the whole tournament.
Mom wanted me to participate in some extracurricular activities.
It was crazy, man. All right, first break of the day here. We do have a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego to celebrate the Christmas season coming up on the show today, so don't go anywhere. But coming up next, SDFC brought the house down at Snapdragon Stadium last night. If you missed the game, we'll give you a nice little recap and preview what they got coming up this weekend in San Diego. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Last night, SDFC brought the house down at Snapdragon Stadium. They get to do it again coming up this Saturday because of the win last night. They'll be taking on Vancouver, the Canadians, at Snapdragon Stadium this coming Saturday night, 6 o'clock, first kick. We'll see if they can keep this thing going, get into the MLS Cup in year numero uno, which would be awesome. Now, before we get to that game last night, Sammy, have you ever deep fried a turkey or been a part of a turkey deep fry?
I have not. Do you do this for Thanksgiving every year?
I did it this morning on
really?
Stadium Fletch.
Oh, I saw you guys lighting the thing on fire. Rich is smoking?
Yeah, Rich was smoking a cig, which I don't know where he got those from. He also doesn't smoke cigarettes, so that was random.
Okay, I showed my dad that. He's like, Rich smokes? He's like, when does that happen?
He does not smoke cigarettes, but he did this morning for some reason. But yeah, 4 gallons of oil into the turkey fryer. And then Travis bought a bird. I bought the 4 gallons of oil. Somehow I spent twice the money he did. I don't really know how that works. Turns out Wesson cooking oil is like $12 a gallon.
What? How did Cat Fisher feel about all this?
Hated it. Hated every second.
Not a fan of it,
especially when TD put the turkey on his arm and ran it around the building and made it fly. It was very funny. Man, the FM lifestyle is different. We get like 3-minute commercial breaks and that's it. You give us 10 minutes of songs back to back, dude. We are doing some weird stuff.
That is fantastic.
The turkey, I got to tell you. So here's what I did, Sammy. And if you are out there listening, I recommend this strategy for your turkey because the bird was perfectly cooked. It was moist inside. It wasn't dry at all. It was wonderful. I cooked it in bacon fat.
Okay. So wait, you made bacon this morning and you took the fat?
So Bacon Up is a brand. It comes in a tub. It looks like a tub of, I can't believe it's not butter almost. And it's like this big if you're on the stream. It's not a very big tub, but I put that in the deep fryer first and then 4 things of oil, 4 gallons of oil. And then after the turkey's completely dry, you got to make sure it's totally defrosted. You pop the bird in there and it's 45 minutes and it's done.
I got to say, I don't know. Like, it sounds good. I don't know if I've ever had deep fried turkey. Like how does it taste different? It's just fried turkey,
crispy skin, but the rest of it's the same.
Are you, without laughing, are you a white meat or a dark meat kind of guy?
A little bit of both. Depends on the day. Yeah.
A little sampler plate.
Depends on the time of day, honestly. In the morning, it's one thing. At night, it's something completely different. But yeah, it was honestly one of the better turkeys I've ever had in my life, but it was the bacon grease that kind of coated the outside of it that I think really made it pop.
Are you a big cooker on Thanksgiving? Or you just show up, drink beer, and watch football?
Yes, because I do both of those things.
Okay.
But my wife and I, the last few years at least, we've been hosting because her dad comes into town. It's just the 3 of us. We have a nice kind of low-key Thanksgiving. But he brings the turkey, and then we do everything else. We do all the sides. So I try my best to replicate your mom's mac and cheese because it's the best mac and cheese I've ever had.
That might be coming into the station next week.
Oh God, I hope so.
Brent put in a request for that.
Kendall makes the green bean casserole. We kind of tag team the potatoes, so it's a whole operation at the Fletcher household. But yeah, we're working hard.
We've already had
deep fried another turkey. It was so good.
Damn, dude. I know they brought in the iHeart people were very nice and brought in a Thanksgiving spread yesterday.
Yeah, that turkey was trash.
Yeah, it was left out all day. And by the time I got in, people were like, "Oh, you'd have some?" I took a look at it. I go, "You know what? I don't need to be sick for Thursday."
So you ready for this? You got in here at what? Like
11:30?
Yeah, yesterday. I came back last night to do pregame for San Diego
Don't tell me
State.
He was still there.
The turkey was still there.
Oh, God.
The turkey was still there.
Dude, these poor cleaning people that got to throw this away.
I couldn't believe it, but the brownies were also still there. Those kept pretty nicely. So I got
those were good for the Aztecs pregame show.
Me and Brent were munching last night on some brownies. Oh, it was perfect. All right, before we get out of here, last night at Snapdragon Stadium, our buddy John on YouTube is saying, what an electric atmosphere at Snapdragon Stadium last night. If you aren't already, I recommend supporting this club. San Diegans have something to be proud of.
Hell yeah.
In a big way, man. The atmosphere last night, the call, it was on Jammin' last night. But Darren and Adrian did such a good job with kind of feeling the moment, feeling what it meant to San Diego. And it's huge. It's everything right now. And it's really, really cool what's happening. But I go back to a couple of moments in that game. And really, that's the crazy thing about soccer. In 2 halves of time, you get 1 or 2 moments that change everything. And San Diego FC won all the measurables in that game. They were possessing the ball for like 80% of the time. But by the end of the first half, it kind of felt like it was swaying into Minnesota's favor. But then the second half happens. And Ian Pilcher is the guy who saved the night for SDFC. Minnesota was running. They essentially had a free shot on goal.
That was unbelievable.
SDFC's goalie was out of the box. He was already going, making a save on the other side. And then Ian Pilcher, out of nowhere, as the ball started to roll to the goal, saves it. Now, as a non-goalie saving something like that, that's got to be one of the cooler feelings in sports.
Oh, unbelievable. And think how that, to your point about at halftime of that game, you're a little like, what's going on here? Because Minnesota wanted to, talking to Darren, Adrian Garcia Marquez yesterday, they wanted to muddy that game up. They don't want to possess the ball. They had the lowest percentage in the entire MLS time of possession. Like they want to make it ugly and capitalize on mistakes. And SDFC wasn't really able to punch through there until Anders Dreyer did it. And that save was ginormous. I mean, this is just, it's kind of surreal to think that Saturday they're playing to go to be in the final. Like seriously, it's insane that Miami's still the favorite. They could be playing Messi here in a couple weeks for the MLS Cup. Like it is just amazing what this team has been able to accomplish. It's so cool to see in the city. I mean, there were like shots around the city between all the bars, people watching. The stadium was electric. It's amazing that San Diego has been starved of a championship for so long. San Diego State got closer a couple years ago. Maybe SDFC in year one is the team to bring it home.
Maybe, man. And by the way, if it is Miami, I think I could be wrong on this and someone correct me if I am, but if it's if Miami loses in the Eastern Conference Finals, the championship game will be hosted in San Diego.
Could you imagine that?
It'd be epic. We got to get field passes or something.
Well, and like we'll get into, I guess tomorrow because we're off for Thursday and Friday, but Vancouver, the SDFC actually had some success against them earlier on in the year. Now, Darren kind of highlighted on our show, there was some weird transfer window stuff. They didn't have all their guys, but SDFC this year has looked good against Vancouver. I mean,
it's been 1-2 all season long.
And it's kind of amazing when you take these teams, like young teams in the NFL or in the NBA or whatever sport, who are kind of naive to the fact that like this shouldn't be happening. Yeah. Like SDFC had before the season, turning to odds makers and people who make picks, had no business being here. And they're kind of in it, for lack of a better term, young and dumb.
Yeah,
and
what do you mean we don't belong here?
Right. And they're just winning and proving everyone, wrong along the way. And it's amazing to see. And Saturday is going to be electric.
And it's big that it was Anders Dreyer. Cody Baird, the pass may have been more impressive than the shot, but Cody Baird lines him up. The ball's going out of bounds. He kind of does that backwards leg kick to get the ball back to Anders, but then Anders just puts an absolute missile in the top right-hand corner of the net. Awesome night for SDFC. Awesome night for San Diego. And Saturday night's going to be epic as well. So listen here on San Diego Sports 760. Coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, it's SDFC Midweek Live. And then coming up on Saturday right here on 760, starting at 6, kickoff of the Western Conference Finals in the MLS Cup. Going to be a ton of fun. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Quick break here. On the other side, SeaWorld tickets, 4 of them. They're yours for the Christmas celebration. That's next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The support is furnished by Genuine. San Diego State coming off a tough loss last night, taking on Oregon tonight at 8 o'clock in Las Vegas. Oregon is currently a 2.5-point favorite after being bet up from 1.5. You hear the game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Schaefer gets you on the call starting at 8. Fletch will get you post game starting at 7. And SDFC coming off the massive win last night over Minnesota advances to the Western Conference Finals. They'll be taking on the Vancouver Whitecaps. That game is at 6 o'clock. Early on the betting line, SDFC is a slight favorite at plus 125 over Vancouver at plus 190. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. The support is furnished by Genuine.
San Diego Sports 760, SDFC Midweek Live tonight, 6 o'clock. Right after that, I'll be on the air at 7. Getting you ready for San Diego State basketball as they get ready for Oregon tonight in that Players Era Invitational Tournament. Depending on how tonight goes, San Diego State either plays on Wednesday or Thursday, so we'll be able to keep you up to date. I'm sure John will have it post-game exactly where they are slotted in. It is San Diego Sports 760. If you missed that Aztecs basketball game from last night, it was a beatdown, man. Michigan wins by 40. Our buddy Rich on YouTube saying, Michigan, a bunch of thugs. They were too big for us. How was that not a flagrant foul on Johnson when he slapped Magoon in the second half? I agree, Rich, not necessarily on the thugs part, but on the flagrant foul part, because what the hell? Like, they went to review the play, and the rules are pretty clear in college basketball on what's a flagrant, what's not a flagrant. Sure looked like a flagrant to me. Not that it had any impact on the game whatsoever, but kind of a weird moment. I don't think I like the review process in college basketball at this point. The two coaches' challenges, it's not working how they thought it would work.
Well, it took the NBA a minute to get used to it because that was the first, they started doing a challenge, and now college basketball's adapting it. It's also going to take a minute for coaches to figure out, like in the NBA, a hotly debated thing is a lot of coaches have waited till the end of games to do it.
Dutch used one in the first half last night and won, by the way.
It's kind of changed because some people have been like, well, if there's an obvious call, it's going to go your way. Why would you just wait till the end of the game when a call might not go your way just to use the challenge?
But that's also dumb. It's like, even if you get the challenge right in the first half, you don't get that challenge back. You still only get 2 for the game. That's what I think is kind of silly about it.
Right. It
like if the ref screws up, you use your challenge. Now you're penalized by losing a challenge.
I also don't think there should be 2. The NBA has 1 challenge, especially because in basketball,
you use 1, but you get it back if you get it right.
Right. That's yes. My problem is, like, in basketball, especially, you could literally challenge a foul every single play. Like you could any play try to drum up a foul. There's a foul called on it. You could call a foul on every play. It's a little bit different in other sports where I don't like the possible multiple challenges. Football, I get it because there's so many plays that are so isolating.
Well, and for the most part in football, what you can challenge is black and white. There's no subjectiveness to it.
Right. Like, I mean, because you can in the NBA and college basketball be like, that's a foul. Well, technically you fouled him, but is it really warrant that much contact to draw a foul? You can go on debating that for days.
It's confusing. It really is. I don't think coaches have figured it out at the college level yet, by the way. You could tell they're all kind of like, should I use it here? It's weird timing, but whatever. Rich, I do agree with you. That seemed like a flagrant to me. All right, we're going to get to our NFL power rankings. Right after we do that, 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego for their Christmas celebration on the line for you and yours as our little gift to you from Fletch and Sammy's hearts into your hands, of 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld. But Sammy, do you got those horns for me?
No, I do.
Royalty-free NFL horns? Or what royalty-free football music. That's what we're going to call this.
Don't have to be edited out of the podcast.
Not music. Even a little bit. All right, if you want ESPN's power rankings, I'll give you their top 5. Their top 5. At number 5, ESPN has the Seahawks, 4 Eagles, 3 Broncos, 2 Patriots, 1 Rams. That is ESPN's top 5. Sammy, would you like to start us off with your number 5?
My number 5, and this is right now.
Sure.
Okay, so this is not where I think that they're necessarily going to end up. Chicago Bears have earned the right to be in the top 5.
Okay.
I don't think necessarily this is a team that is. I don't think they're winning a Super Bowl. I think their ceiling is probably winning 1 playoff game. But if we got to give the Chicago Bears some credit, they're running off all these wins. I know they beat a Aaron Rodgers-less Steelers, and I know all the things that go against them, and that's the first team above 500 they've beaten this year. but I got to give them credit for how they won. Caleb Williams has been fantastic in the month of November, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and they won the game off offense. And it's not like the Pittsburgh Steelers actually scored a lot of points. TJ Watt is the strip sack early in that. Feels like Chicago was going to collapse in that game. They didn't. Right now, I'm putting them in the top 5. I think they've earned it at number 5.
If you want to give us your top 5, get on over to YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. Drop it in the comments. We're live there right now. My number 5 is going to be the Detroit Lions. I'll be honest, I thought about the Chicago Bears here because I agree with you, Sammy. They deserve to be in that conversation. They've won a bunch in a row. But the Detroit Lions, the way they came back against the Giants in a game that felt like it was over. Detroit might have the best player in all of football right now, Jahmyr Gibbs, best non-quarterback in all of football, and Jahmyr Gibbs. And the way that they came back to win that game was impressive to me. I think they've earned it with their roster, with the defense that's getting healthier. Lions at 5. I don't feel great about it, but that's where they are. I had about 5 teams I could put at 5 this week.
Okay, for number 4, I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. I think the Detroit Lions, now, I guess people could go, you beat the Giants in overtime. The Giants are extremely injured. Yes, but Jameis Winston is a baller. He's a gamer in these games. And the Giants just play inspired every week. They're not a team, it's funny, on the schedule that you necessarily want to see, even though they're not, because of all the injuries, super talented. I do think Detroit is rounding into form a little bit. You've seen the offense come alive after, Dan Campbell was great week 1 against the Commanders, of him calling plays. Not so great against Philly. Had a little get back. My favorite pick, and we're going to get it all the Thanksgiving games tomorrow, I think they're going to show out against Green Bay on Thanksgiving. I really am not high on Green Bay. I think Detroit is going to take hold of this division. I'm putting them at number 4 right now. They impressed for me.
Number 4, my first AFC team, the Denver Broncos. The last time we saw them on the field, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They were on bye last week. They were in my top 5 this week, or last week, had to be in my top 5 this week. Denver Broncos at 4. Don't know what their ceiling is necessarily this year, but right now, man, not too many defenses better in the football league.
I'm going with the Denver Broncos at number 3.
Wow.
They were idle. They didn't play, so I can't really drop them off my list. Again, I'm kind of with you. I think that there's a ceiling to Bo Nix, but in terms of the roster, it is impressive what they did to my Chiefs. They didn't have Alex Singleton. They didn't have Pat Surtain, and they did make some big plays down the stretch there. They listen, they've earned the right. They've been dominant in the AFC so far. Again, I think there's concerns about the playoff. If Baltimore was going into to them in the first round of the playoffs, I might be picking Baltimore. But right now, I think Denver has certainly earned their stripes. Coming off a bye week there at number 3.
All right, my number 3 is the Mike Vrabel-led New England Patriots. If you were to talk about Mike Vrabel as a player, you would say one of the toughest guys in football at his time of playing. I look at the New England Patriots this year, and I think they might be the toughest team in the NFL. Not the most talented, not the most skilled. They don't have the best, most flashy quarterback. But what Drake May has done, what Mike Vrabel has done, is made Gillette an imposing threat once again for teams to come in and play at. I think the Patriots are an absolute real contender this year. Watch out for them. New England Patriots, my number 3 team.
Don't mean to be, we're just one off here. But New England number 2, I do think New England.
You left the Seahawks off your list.
Yeah.
Shocking.
I just went over the Titans, doesn't do it for me. And that's no disrespect. Shout out to the Seattle Seahawks, but I think the Lions, what they showed a little bit more in that game than the Seattle did. But New England, I do think of that grouping of that Colts, Broncos, Patriots, that whole grouping of a lot of unproven teams who have really talented rosters, but we haven't seen them do it before. I do think the Patriots have the highest ceiling of that because of Mike Vrabel, because they found something in Kayshon Boutte at the number 2 spot behind Stephon Diggs. You got Travion Henderson running the ball very well. Ramondre Stevenson still there. And I think Drake May is the best quarterback out of Bo Nix, Daniel Jones, that kind of whole grouping right there. So I do think the New England Patriots are going to be a threat in the AFC this year.
Well, our number 1 team is each going to be the Rams. My number 2 team is the Seahawks, who I
really?
Think, yeah, man.
At number 2?
Yes, because I think that the Seattle Seahawks, they've sort of made the switch, and they've done it quietly, but all of a sudden, Zach Charbonnet has become RB1 for the Seattle Seahawks, and Kenneth Walker has dropped down a step. With Zach Charbonnet, you get 5 or 6 yards of carry pretty much every time he touches the ball. He runs through contact better than just about anybody. I really like the way Seattle's built, with a young defense that's playing really, really good, and the fact that they took the Rams to the last second in a game where Sam Darnold had 4 interceptions is not something I will forget soon. And I do think as of right now, that would be my NFC Championship game.
It's interesting. So you look at the top 5, and again, this is tough up to this point. So you got to be fair to these teams that are winning games. I thought about Baltimore because they are on a 5-game win streak, even though they haven't looked good, particularly great in some of those games. That's why I kept them off. Beating the Jets and some of that. We'll see them against the Bengals on Thursday night with Burrow back. But it is interesting. Like, think about who's not on that list.
No Bills, no Chiefs, no Ravens,
Eagles.
No Eagles.
No, we both have the Lions on. No Packers. No Niners. I thought about your Niners. Like, it's all this NFL playoffs, keep going back to this, is going to be fascinating because in years past, it's usually that the top seeds really are the favorites. And then you feel like maybe the wild cards can pull an upset. The fact that all the top seeds are new teams that haven't been there before, we could see upsets galore in the postseason on the AFC and NFC side.
It's going to be a good one. Hey, SeaWorld tickets on the line right now where twinkling lights meet ocean delights at SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration. It's going now through January 4th. You can experience the magic of the season. You can meet incredible animals like belugas, penguins, and sea otters. Sammy loves the sea otters. Step into a whimsical winter wonderland with 1 million dazzling lights in the all-new Clyde and Seymour's Christmas. Meet Santa and live reindeer. Enjoy unforgettable family moments with nightly snowfall, holiday treats, and the lighting of San Diego's largest Christmas tree. Experience a holiday unlike any other at SeaWorld San Diego. Tickets and info at SeaWorldSanDiego.com. Caller number
11.
You're going to SeaWorld with 3 other tickets you can bring. You can go all 4 times yourself if you want, or you can bring your family. That's not what Sammy would do. We all know that. But whatever you would like to do, call number 11 at 877-767-4760. You're going to SeaWorld. Long shots next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John Schaefer with Jim Russell on vacation. We'll take over then. John's going to be live in Vegas. J Riff will take over, I believe, around 4 o'clock today before we get back on the air for SDFC Midweek Live at 6 and then Aztecs pregame at 7. With yours truly, John Schaefer will be on the call coming up at 8 o'clock when San Diego State takes the court against the Oregon Ducks. All right, Sammy, I hate to bring this up, and I really do hate to bring this up, but yesterday we did a little co-long shots. You asked me for my advice on a couple things, and I threw out a couple of picks. I said Brock Purdy more than 22 completions, and I said George Kittle more than whatever his yardage was. Now, both those picks hit. How did your picks do last night?
Well, I mean, I didn't know Bryce Young was going to revert back to, not being able to read a defense.
Oh.
So Xavier Legette stepped out of bounds on one of them. So I don't take full responsibility for it. I think your Niners jinxed us, and what's new?
Yeah, let's blame everybody else. That sounds like a good idea.
No, and when it comes to betting, listen, when you're winning, it's because you're smarter and you know more than everyone else. When you're losing, it's because of unfortunate bad beats and things that are out of your control.
Legette had missed it by a half yard.
Yeah, and he dropped the pass. He dropped the pass too. It's ridiculous. Again, when it comes to gambling, when you're on a heater, it's because you know more. You're just in touch. You can't miss.
Speaking of bad beats, you see the Cleveland Browns game?
Yes.
So the over under was at like 38 or something, and I think it was at 36. The Browns had an opportunity to kick a field goal or punt from like the 25-yard line, and they decided to punt at the end of the game. Who had money on that?
I had a friend who was in Vegas who
Stefanski. You want to fess up to anything? Huh?
Yeah, Kevin, we hitting some unders, baby. What's going on?
A little fishy. All I'm saying. All right, Sammy, let's get to long shots today. Go ahead, smash it.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, you don't even know.
Time to take a chance
Pay that man his money.
with long shots.
I didn't hear you. What were you asking?
We're good.
Okay, where are we going today?
All right, we got some NBA, we got some college basketball, we got some good stuff locked in after the Niners, of course, sold us last night on long shots.
What are you talking about, dude?
We put full blame on the Niners, but again, what's new?
Because our young defense is all of a sudden like bowing up a little bit, flexing their muscles a little bit.
All right, we're talking about college basketball.
Bryce Young can't handle it.
Bryce Young cannot handle it. By the way, Carolina might be looking for a quarterback next year.
By the way, Niners Browns next week. Shador Sanders.
Okay. By the way,
snow game.
Maybe hour 2.
Come on.
What's gonna happen if Shador
balls out?
Shador balls out. What's gonna happen on Monday?
I'm gonna not come to work. I think I'm sick. Actually,
I think you better be sick on Monday if Shador balls out.
I got COVID, Sammy. It's so weird. It hit me real hard. It's that COVID 25, dude.
Okay. All right, we're going college basketball first. We're going to Magoon-Gwath. We're going to go over 9.5 points.
I love it.
You know why? This is an overcorrection of the line. It's only at 9.5. He had 7 last night. Again, Michigan's core thing is that they're tall. They have a massive front court. Magoon-Gwath was getting doubled all the time. He was the guy they were going after. With all due respect to Miles Heide and Farrell Compton, who are talented players, they were willing to let them beat them offensively. They weren't going to let it happen to Magoon-Gwath. Michigan was trying to recruit Magoon-Gwath, so they did a lot of scouting on him. They know him well. This is an overcorrection of the betting line. More than 9.5 points. I think he has a nice bounce-back game tonight against Oregon, so shout out to Magoon-Gwath. All right, we're headed into more college basketball. USC, Seton Hall, Rodney Rice. I don't know if people are familiar with this. He's been absolutely balling out. Hit his over in each of the last 3 games. He was great against Troy at 35, had 30 against Boise State. These are points and assists. Illinois State as well. He's a very talented player. Seton Hall, these teams have matched up in the tournament a few times. They're out there in Maui. Rodney Rice, more than 22.5 points and assists against Seton Hall today. The game is going here in an hour, so we can hopefully watch Rodney Rice. SC's basketball team's been pretty actually nice this year. Had a few big wins so far. All right, on to the association.
They 6-0.
5-0 right now.
5-0.
But
they just beat a Mountain West team. They beat Boise.
They beat Boise State, and he was balled out. Boise State had a good look at the end of the game, but Rodney Rice is the go-to guy for SC. All right, we're going to the Lakers and Clippers tonight. We got to pick from both sides. We're going to start with the Clippers. Ivica Zubac, more than 11 rebounds. Zubac's always balls out against the Lakers. He was a former Laker. Magic Johnson traded him. That was one of his big blunders. Zubac has developed into a really nice center for the Clippers. More than 11 rebounds. DeAndre Ayton is not playing in this game tonight. He got hurt. He got hurt against the Jazz on Sunday night. He will be out, so it'll be a heavy dose of Jackson Hayes and Maxi Kleba, who did play well against the Jazz, but Zubac should have a big night, more than 11 rebounds. The depth for the Clippers is not there, so they run their starting five a lot. So Zubac's going to have ample opportunity to get a lot of boards, more than 11 rebounds for Ivica Zubac. Off the bench for the Lake Show, Jake LaRavia, more than 7.5 points. I think this is a big Jake the Snake game. This is, I think he's going to have a big showing. The Clippers bench, that's what I'm saying. The only guy that's young and has talent is Kobe Saunders. He averaged 7 points a game. He was a second-round pick from a couple years ago. Chris Paul comes off the bench. Brooke Lopez comes off the bench. I go back to they're a bunch of fossils. Okay, this team is ancient for the Clippers. The average age is like in the mid 30s. Jake LaRavia at the Lakers bench has really been where they're separating so far this year at that 12-4 record. They haven't been shooting the ball great from three. Actually, Luka, Smart, and Austin Reeves, all three top 3-point attempts this year, are only shooting about 30% from the field. So where does that come in? Jake LaRavia going to get some run. JJ Redick already talked about how he needs more production from the three-point shooting line. That's where Jake LaRavia comes in. More than 7.5 points for Jake LaRavia. So to recap, Rodney Rice, guard for the USC Trojans, taking on Seton Hall. More than 22.5 points in assists. Magoon Guath, more than 9.5 points. Bounce back game against Oregon tonight. We're going to go Ivica Zubac. More than 11 rebounds with DeAndre Ayton out for the Lakers. Should be able to clean up on the glass. Jake LaRavia coming off the bench. No one is going to be able to guard him for the Clippers. More than 7.5 points.
Lakers have figured something out here.
12-4. Pretty unbelievable.
Exciting whites. Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Jake LaRavia.
It leaves a little bit to be desired defensively at times, but they can score the basketball.
It's crazy, man. Good for them. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Take a quick break here. Hour 2 is coming up next. Big Stan Lazinski going to be jumping on, so get your comments in on YouTube if you have fantasy football questions. We're almost there, man. If you haven't qualified for playoffs yet, this may be the week you do so. If you have questions, start, sit. Week 13 in the NFL. Get them in on YouTube right now. It's San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is furnished by Genuine. Aztecs taking on the Oregon Ducks tonight after a tough 40-point loss to the Michigan Wolverines last night. The Ducks are currently 2.5-point favorites after being bet up from 1.5. That game going at 8 o'clock with Schaefer on the call, and Fletch will get you going on the pregame starting at 7. SDFC taking on Vancouver in the Western Conference Finals after Anders Dreyer put SDFC up 1-0, and that was enough to beat Minnesota. Currently, opening odds, SDFC is plus 125 on the money line. Vancouver's plus 190, and a draw is plus 260. That game will go in at 6 o'clock. Of course, you can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. This report is furnished by Genuine.
Flex Zone.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
To the Flex Zone.
Not like other guys.
Sound off like you got a pair.
Who knew in February this would happen?
San Diego FC are advancing to the Western Conference Final.
From a first-year team to the MLS Final Four, we talk about the game and what Saturday means to the city. A rough night for Aztec hoops out in Vegas. They look to bounce back today versus Oregon. And there was some football last night.
Purdy with some time throws the slant to Jennings. Jennings breaks the contact at the 5 and walks into the end zone.
The Patchwork 49ers win again.
The 49ers will defeat the Carolina Panthers here tonight, 20-9, the final score.
Look at Fletch just grinning over there.
Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy.
A busy day on tap as we enter the Flex Zone.
It's hour 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer taking over then live from Las Vegas. And Jonathan Riffian going to be on a little bit later on today, leading you straight into SDFC Midweek Live, leading you straight into Aztecs basketball pregame taking on Oregon. We got a busy 10 hours coming up here on San Diego Sports 760. So let's get it going here with hour number 2 on the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. Who won those tickets to SeaWorld San Diego? Dave. What's popping?
Dave's the man, dude. Talk to him for a minute.
Happy Thanksgiving, Dave. Hope you and yours are doing well. Thank you for being here on a holiday week where I know a lot of people aren't in their normal routines. Sammy, last night, Snapdragon Stadium, history made here in San Diego. An impressive night for SDFC among an incredibly impressive season where they've been making history every step of the way. So the number 1 seed in the West, SDFC, gets another win, and now they're advancing into the Western Conference Finals, and they do it with one of the more incredible plays I've seen on a soccer pitch, if I'm saying that correctly. The Ian Pilcher save that he's a defender for SDFC, and it's not the goalie who steps up to make the game-saving block. It's a defender, Ian Pilcher, who saved the entire season in that one moment. And then you have the Cody Barrett assist to the Anders Dreyer goal. J-Riff was actually there. J-Riff, sit down. You were at the game last night, and Jonathan Rifkin's here in studio a little bit early. But that moment, that everything about SDFC last night, paint a picture for us.
All right. So we're talking about a team that had, at that time, 9 shots, none on goal. A team that has their backup goalie starting in this game for an injured starting goalie who was one of the finalists for goalie of the year. They're playing the goalkeeper of the year for the Loons in Minnesota United. And what ended up happening was you have this chaotic moment where this ball is thrusted towards the touchline, and it literally is a last-ditch effort to save it. It's a backheel save in. You've Dreyer cutting through, and in just one swooping motion, this dude unloads an absolute screamer that tickles that twine and gives SDFC the 1-0 lead and the eventual game-winning goal.
All right, we're turning your mic off. If you're saying something like tickle that twine, what the hell?
Is this like a porn trailer?
This guy never
tickling twine?
An NBA broadcast?
Tickling twine. God,
have you
dude.
never heard of an NBA
of
broadcast?
Course, tickling
the guy, tickle that twine, and that's what he did.
Speak like a human, Jay Riff.
He blasted that twine.
Now, how about the roar from the crowd? Give us more.
The blue smoke, the fireworks. If you want to talk about a seismic moment in San Diego, thrusting a team into a place where frankly, this city has not seen in my lifetime.
Sure.
In your lifetime. They're hosting a Western Conference final, dude. They're doing it as an expansion team. 8 months ago, it was like, oh, this is a cool story. San Diego gets an MLS team. 4 months ago, it's like, oh, this MLS team's pretty good. Now it's, this MLS team is a damn contender. And we all know that the MLS wants Messi to win because they probably sold ad space for the MLS Cup at a premium, assuming that he's going to be there. And it would be incredible, not only if Messi lost, but they lost at the hands of San Diego Football Club, man.
It'd be pretty cool. So what, here, tell me this, because the thunderclap at the beginning of the game, I don't know if you were there for that.
I was there.
Looks like one of the coolest things going in sports.
It's up there right now, I think. I think it's up there with some of the college football scenes that we feel Virginia Tech, right, with when they roll out why is it a understand, man? Or like when we do clap in the fourth quarter at Oregon. It sort of has that college football feel. You know what? There was a college football feel last night to this game. There really was.
What were you going to say?
I said, how do you think they stack up against Vancouver and then maybe Miami if they get there?
Okay. Well, Miami has to go through NYCFC, which was the 5th seed. By the way,
that's who San Diego's rooting for, right? NYC,
because they get the host.
Then San Diego hosts.
Bingo. Because remember, it's based on the points in the regular season. 85 points for Inter Miami, 65 points, 63 points for SDFC, even though they finished as a higher seed in the Western Conference. So the road is through NYCFC for San Diego FC. It's probably not going to happen. Vancouver beat San Diego FC 5-2 up in Vancouver. It was a thrashing. Bit of an adjustment back in San Diego. A 1-1 victory, 1-1 draw the second time around. San Diego tightened things up a little bit, but it was really a team that wasn't trying to test each other. We're going to see it's going to be a slugfest. Like Vancouver plays hard. They have Thomas Mueller, by the way, who is one of the greatest German midfielders of all time, attacking midfielders. They were up 2-0 on LAFC. LAFC has Ha-Sung Kim scoring 2 goals, including one set piece.
Ha-Sung Kim, the baseball player?
Sorry. Son, what's his first name?
Son,
I don't know.
Play for Tottenham. That's all I know.
Is he a twine tickler?
You mean son. Sorry, I can't.
He was a beast in FIFA. I know that.
Total twine tickler.
Anyways, Son scores the 2 goals. You get into extra time and then PKs, and LAFC ends up losing. It was an emotional victory for Vancouver. I think SDFC probably has the momentum, but it's 2 different styles of play. Again, but SDFC has proven that they can adjust like they did last night. So I think they stack up really well against Vancouver.
All right, Jared, we're going to kick you out because we got to get to the big 3. Our buddy Tyler also making fun of you for saying the words twine tickler. One of the most
I didn't say that.
things.
I said he tickled the twine.
That's even zestier.
Sammy, let's get to the. Oh, wait, what do you have coming up on today? What time are you doing it?
4 to 6 today. I'm filling in for Jonathan and James, and I will have Adam Rank and Steve Quist coming on the show.
Damn, those are cool guys. I like Steve a lot. I like Adam even more. Good for you, J-Riff. All right, Sammy, let's get to the big 3. Go ahead, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The big 3.
Need to talk to Ormberger, see if he has any of those cigarettes laying around. If we're talking about twine ticklers, baby.
By the way, Mac Daddy on YouTube. Yes, we are taking fantasy football questions. Our text line is down right now, so please hop on our YouTube and send us all your San Diego Sports 760. Send us all your fantasy football questions. They will all be asked to Big Stan Lasinski here in a few minutes.
Get him in and just relentlessly make fun of J-Riff for the words that he just used. That was crazy, man. Whew,
wild
going
behavior.
Back to the 70s. Everyone's all hairy and stuff too. Sammy, where are we going with the big 3?
We're going to go. All right. So what would a Super Bowl, who would it mean more to win a Super Bowl? Jalen Hurts to get his second or Matthew Stafford to get his second?
I saw you put this question down, and actually I thought about it quite a bit here before the show. And I think my answer is Matthew Stafford, because Matthew Stafford has an opportunity to do something pretty damn cool, which is retire a Super Bowl champ. We know Mrs. Stafford is not a fan of him playing still. We know that Matthew Stafford,
not a fan of his teammates either.
Yeah, definitely not.
Unless it's the backup quarterback in college.
Yeah, what was it? Carson Wentz? Who was it? No, it was.
No, she tells a story about how she was mad at Stafford and
she went and slept with his
backup quarterback. 100% real. You can go look up this clip online.
Yeah,
wild behavior.
But I thought it was a well-known quarterback who was his backup at the time.
I don't know. I don't know if it was. Well, I think it was like some no-name guy.
Definitely wasn't Carson Wentz. I just made that up out of thin air. You're welcome, Staffords. But we know Matthew Stafford was close to retiring at the end of last year. So if they go out and win a Super Bowl, does Stafford hang it up? I think that's a fascinating storyline, and I think it absolutely means more for him. As much crap as I give the Eagles, I think they have opportunities in the next 5 years to get back.
It's funny but Matthew Stafford with his 1 Super Bowl, he has all the personal accomplishments, like the personal records. No one really trashes Matthew Stafford. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts which is crazy to me that Jalen Hurts has done more than 90% of quarterbacks in this league today. He's won ever. He's won 2 Super Bowls, played really well in both. Was Super Bowl MVP of one and won one ring. Can't say, that's a little tongue twister right there. Speaking of,
it's a real twine tickler.
Twine tickler, yeah, I'm about to say. But Jalen Hurts constantly gets doubted. Jalen Hurts constantly by his teammates, by the media. People even want to say he's not the best quarterback in the NFC. People want to say he's not a top 5 quarterback because he's carried by his team. He's carried by Howie Roseman being one of the best GMs we've seen in decades. Jalen Hurts getting into the Super Bowl, then all of a sudden you start going, no, this is a Hall of Famer. Like this is a guy who you can't deny because he has shown up in some of the biggest moments. I actually disagree with you. The Rams are a super young team that I know Matthew Stafford's closer to retirement than Jalen Hurts, but they're going to be loaded for bear for years. You can't keep all these guys with the Eagles. I mean, they're all going to come up to get paid. That entire defense is young. They're going to have to make some decisions.
Yeah, but they got the GM. They got Howie Roseman. He'll figure it out.
I know, but Phillips is young. Jalen Carter's young. Cooper DeJean's young. Quinion Mitchell's young. You're going to pay Saquon again. He's getting up there in age a little bit. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Like, they aren't just going to be good for years. This is a roster built around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. What's next?
Okay, so Steelers optimistic. Rodgers plays Sunday. They're taking on the Buffalo Bills. Massive matchup in the AFC. Who has had a more disappointing season, though, so far? The Buffalo Bills or the Pittsburgh Steelers for you?
Because I think the Bills still have the higher ceiling, I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Look, Tomlin is the defensive guy. He's been one of the best defensive coach of our lifetimes. He's of this last generation. Mike Tomlin gets put in that conversation. The defense is the problem in Pittsburgh this year. It would have been an easy cop-out for Tomlin if Rodgers came in and stunk it up. He really hasn't. Like, he hasn't been great. He hasn't been MVP Rodgers, but he's been good enough. It's been the defense for Pittsburgh that has been boom or bust this year. We saw them give up 40-plus points to the Jets in week 1 with Justin Fields. I would say the Steelers are more disappointing to me because I thought if anyone was going to be the problem on this team, it'd be Aaron Rodgers. And so far this year, you can't put the blame on him.
They both have been disappointing. I'm going to go with the Bills because they do have a higher ceiling. Because
the Bills could still win a Super Bowl this year. You think the Steelers can?
No, I think the Bills could certainly get hot and win a Super Bowl, but that's why I think it's been more disappointing if you're the Bills, is that you have think of what's happened this year. The Chiefs are fighting to get in the playoffs. The Ravens started 1-5, fighting to get in the playoffs. You could have been that team that's the number 1 seed, and everything comes through Buffalo, and you be the one experienced team in the field but now you have New England, you have the Broncos, the Colts. It's disappointing, I think, for all these teams, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, that they're not atop the AFC, because you would have looked, you've been like, how are these teams with young quarterbacks and never been there before that much better than us in the standings? And the Bills have been inconsistent to me. You've seen their ability when they beat the Bucs, they beat the Chiefs, but then you lose to the Falcons, you lose to Miami. There's just if I was a Bills fan, I would be disappointed in Brandon Beane for not putting a better roster around Josh Allen, because at some point it's like, we know Josh Allen, James Cook can dominate a game. They can win any game on any given Sunday, but at some point, where's the changes defensively? When's Sean McDermott out? I think the Steelers, there's always been a limit to how far they could go, but I am with you. The defensive side of the ball has been very disappointing.
But so here's the thing. If you would have told me that Aaron Rodgers would have the season that he would have up to this point, like when we were starting at week 0, I would have assumed that Mike Tomlin's defense would have done enough to have them well in control of the AFC North.
That's fair.
So that's the disappointment, because the Ravens have been bad. And so you look at the AFC North, it was wide open this year. You could have already put this thing away by this point in the season. What's next, Sam?
Let's head to college football. Kind of a weird story out of LSU. So Brian Kelly gets fired halfway through the season.
Sorry to my family.
Apparently his lawyers are alleging that LSU is basically calling other schools and tarnishing his name so he can't get a job somewhere else. There has been a lot made of Lane Kiffin possibly jumping to the NFL. James Franklin gets a job at Virginia Tech. Between Lane Kiffin, Brian Kelly, maybe Dan Lanning possibly leaving for the NFL, which of those candidates would be most attractive to jump to the NFL?
It's got to be Kiff, doesn't it? He brings with you the swagger. I think it's Lane Kiffin. I just really, with all my heart, want Brian Kelly to be hired by UCLA to see that opening press conference. I really want to see if he runs with the bit.
Yeah, he's all stoned and chilling.
It's become such an internet thing. His day 1 with LSU, with him at I think it was like a pep rally for the basketball team. He goes out to midcourt. He's like, I want to thank you for welcoming my family. If he goes to UCLA and if Brian Kelly had a bit of cool in him, he would go out and put on the total LA stoner vibe, kind of surfer dude voice. That's all I'm rooting for in this situation. But Kiff is my answer.
Yeah,
to
Kiff. I'm surprised Brian Kelly though hasn't been linked to a lot of these jobs. Like,
why would he be? What has he done over the last few years to say he deserves a look at the NFL? I think he deserves a look down in college football, which is why I'm saying UCLA.
I meant in college football because he was successful with Notre Dame and took them to a national championship game. LSU was a failure, massive expectations there. Lane Kiffin, it was funny to me. He had kind of an interview today, Lane Kiffin, talking about how people are kind of insinuating that Lane Kiffin is not loyal because he's getting looked at to go to other jobs, Florida, LSU, possibly the NFL. And he made the good point, I thought, which is why kids aren't loyal now. This is not like you're recruiting a guy and he's staying for 4 years and you kind of abandon all your guys. The portal, everyone's leaving. Everyone, if they have a better opportunity somewhere else where they get a start or they make more money, they're out. So I get it why college coaches, that's why you're hearing Dan Lanning, despite the Oregon success, just beating USC, possibly got a real shot to go down in the playoff. Like, if Dan Lanning gets a call, I think he'd be silly not to look at it. Lane Kiffin, I would certainly make the jump. If Miami came open or New York for Lane Kiffin with Neighbors and Dart and Scatabo, I think that would be a good look for Lane Kiffin.
What's Coach O doing these days?
Coach O is how crazy is it?
I'd give him another shot.
He was great at SC when he took over.
Yeah, all he does is win.
They didn't hire him. He wins a national championship at LSU, albeit one of the most talented rosters there's ever been.
Sure, like Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase,
Justin Jefferson,
yeah, it was
Clyde.
a stupid team.
But then he's just out because of 2 bad seasons, hasn't got a job yet.
Yeah.
Coach O doesn't get a job in a lot of part of the country because Coach O doesn't work.
Coach O's also a little polarizing.
Right, like Coach O going to a press conference, let's just be honest, in LA for UCLA, that's not going to sell to the boosters.
Oh, I think the opposite. I think the world's ready for Coach O to make a comeback.
Hey, I'm a Coach O supporter. SC should have hired him. It's crazy.
You're talking about like NFL looks. This is a wide open. There's gonna be 5 or 6 coaches fired probably at the end of the year. There is every single year. Why not take a look at someone like
who is the hottest head coaching name? Like
Dable? I think it's Lane Kiffin.
I think it's Lane Kiffin. Like, I don't know if you can call Mike McCarthy.
Brian Dable was tough to work with. We know enough about his time in New York at this point. We know enough about his time in Buffalo to where like he gets hired as the head coach, and obviously he has things turned in the right direction, and they still fire him.
I'm surprised they got rid of it. And like Mike McCarthy, like, is that a sexy hire?
I would not want Mike McCarthy anywhere near my football program.
I don't either. That's why I think it's the best time to be a college head coach because of the lack of offensive coordinators coming up in the league.
And it's a great time to be a fired college football head coach.
Seriously.
Buyouts at an all-time high, and everyone's just, $50 million to get him out. Let's do it. All right, we got to take a quick break here. Get your questions in on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. Big Stan Lazinski of DynastyPriceCheck.com is coming up in just a little bit. If you got fantasy football questions, get them in on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Quick news here with local impact. Phillip Rivers has made it through to the next round of eliminations in terms of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That monster's coming back on me, bro. Drew Brees, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Frank Gore, Fred Taylor, Larry Fitzgerald, Torrey Holt, Steve Smith Sr., Hines Ward, Reggie Wayne. Look, it's a crowded class for Phillip Rivers to get in on, but I think a lot of people thought he might drop off at the semifinalist round, and he squeezed his way through there.
You think Eli gets in?
I don't. I think Eli.
Really?
I don't think Eli or Phillip get in this round. Drew Brees gets in. Larry Fitzgerald gets in, obviously. Then you got a lot of great names, man. Frank Gore, the records that dude set, workhorse that he was.
Frank Gore, Fitzgerald, definitely in. My thing with Eli is like
Luke Kuechly's up this year. Terrell Suggs is up this year. There's some names that might be above Rivers and Eli.
The thing with Eli is it's crazy because he like has a losing record. He's like 500 records a quarterback, but Eli Manning has the two biggest single wins maybe in NFL history.
And he was great in both those games. But I don't know. I feel like it's going to be tricky either way. Those two guys, Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning, only one of them is getting in on whatever class goes in. And I don't think it's this one. I think Brees has the clear edge over both of them. He will get in this year. And then Larry Fitzgerald's like a no doubter first ballot Hall of Famer.
Suggs will get in. Suggs deserves to get in.
Yeah, and I honestly think Kuechly might too. He just doesn't have the length of career. If Kuechly would have played longer, he probably would be a first ballot guy. But because of how short he ended his career, he might get left off this year too.
The Eli conversations, I think the fact that he played for the Giants is going to help him get in. I would put him in the Hall of Fame.
And I think his post-football career is also going to help him get into the Hall of Fame.
Right, he's beloved.
You cannot watch a commercial right now if you're watching an NFL game that does not have Eli. We're running commercials with Eli Manning on it. On our station. He's talking about Hawaiian rolls. It's crazy. So Eli Manning, yes, he will get in. I don't think this year. I don't think Rivers gets in this year either. Which is unfortunate. All right. Before we get to Big Stan Lazinski and get your questions in on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760, if you have fantasy football questions heading into week 13, which is almost playoff time in fantasy football, let's spend a real quick second here. San Diego State, Oregon tonight. Much like the San Diego State basketball team, I think we flushed last night's result down the drain. A 40-point loss to Michigan. It hurt you in the metrics. San Diego State falls down to 57 as of right now in KenPom. Here's the good news. Oregon's at 67. So San Diego State coming in tonight. What's the betting line, Sammy? What was it?
It was 2.5 now favored Oregon, but it was 1.5 to open.
That's right. So San Diego State tonight, you're not going to erase Michigan loss. That's 40-point loss. That's going to hurt you, but it is a quad one loss. You might be able to do a little bit of damage on that Troy loss with a win here tonight, especially a convincing one. I almost think San Diego State's got to just pretend last night didn't happen, reset everything, going tonight with a hopefully newfound sense of urgency, because there was very little urgency for the Aztecs last night.
In Michigan, too, was probably the worst matchup you could have with Magoon Guath coming back from injury.
And they're huge.
Their front court is their calling card. That's what they're so good at. And then so you have Magoon Guath, who need to play heavy minutes, is still kind of ramping up. And again, no disrespect to Miles Hyde or Pharaoh Compton. They're fine players, but you're asking a lot offensively when San Diego State really wants to go one center, four wide out, like a lot of length on the wings and play excellent defense. We'll see them against Oregon tonight. Oregon got the best of them last year in this tournament. So certainly a big matchup. If you could somehow salvage this week with a win in Oregon and then a win on Wednesday or Thursday, whoever you get matched up with, I think there'll be much more positive vibes.
That's what we said coming into this week. Win two. Right. You got to win two. And I don't know what the matchup's going to look like either tomorrow or Thursday, but tonight goes a lot into that. The better you play tonight, the better team you're going to play tomorrow. And San Diego State needs it.
And to that end, it's not that they lost to Michigan, it's that they got their ass kicked.
Right. If they would have lost by 5, we'd be singing a very different tune today.
Right. You'd be like, you know what? They're a good basketball team. They fought hard. The problem last night was there wasn't a lot of fight, and certainly wasn't in the second half. It just game completely got away from them. I expect them to be fired up tonight. And get after it because they need to.
Something you said in hour one, Sammy, I thought was actually really well said. Like, we could talk about this Michigan team who literally spent $13 million on this roster to go win a national championship this year. But that's also the conversation we put the Aztecs in this offseason.
Right.
They didn't spend $13 million, but they built this team to go compete for a national championship this year. And last night, it just didn't look like that. So tonight, you actually have a storyline where Oregon had a very similar day yesterday that San Diego State had. They got their asses kicked by Auburn. So can these two teams, who are both going to be revitalized, re-energized to come in tonight to try to salvage a big win in Vegas, which this would be a big win for both teams, can San Diego State get the better of it? I think we're in tow for an excellent college basketball game tonight in what has been a really excellent college basketball slate at the Players Era Invitational. All right, Big Stan coming up next. We got him on the phone. He's answering fantasy football questions, so get him in on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. Drop us a comment. There's already a bunch of them in there as of right now. That's next. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. The Aztecs taking on Oregon tonight. Oregon is currently a 2.5-point favorite. That game will be going at 8 o'clock with Schaefer on the call. Fletch will get you going at 7 o'clock on the pregame. Some NFL news. The Buffalo Bills have just signed receiver Brandon Cooks, who was released from the Saints. In the Lake Show, we're back tonight taking on the Clippers at Crypto. Lakers currently 6.5-point favorites. That game will be on NBC at 8 o'clock. On Saturday, November 29th, it's the Uncorked Derby Days Wine Festival at Del Mar. Come out for a day of racing, food, and music, and sample over 100 wines and champagnes from around the world. Uncorked at Del Mar on Saturday, November 29th.
Out to Jawan Jennings J-Riff, who's just standing behind me. Everyone see that last night on Monday
That was
Night
wild.
Football? Jawan Jennings, after the game, gets a punch back, but he got hit square in the nards in the middle of that game. Felt bad for him. I really did. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you. J-Riff kind of sitting by in studio, standing behind me. And making me want to punch him in the nards. But right now we go to Stan Lazinski, our fantasy football expert. Find him at dynastypricecheck.com. Stan Lazinski quit his normal job. He said, I'm a fantasy football guy now. And in year one, we really caught the tail of a rocket ship. Stan, what's going on, dude?
What's going on, Ben? How are you guys, man? Great week in the NFL. A lot of exciting action coming down. Finally, a week with no buys for players, so everyone gets to play a full-strength lineup, I hope.
Yeah, we're getting ready. This is the time of year that people clinch playoffs in fantasy football. I actually clinched one last night in one of my leagues, so I'm feeling good about that. But Stan Lazinski, you find him at Dynasty Price Check on all social media, dynastypricecheck.com online. Go check out the work he's done this year. He's doing an excellent job. So Stan, heading into this week, what is strategy for people? Because you're looking at teams who are maybe just on the verge of making the postseason, teams who are maybe on the verge of getting knocked out of the postseason in fantasy football. Any big waiver wires you could think of right now that might help you out and boost you for a postseason run?
Yeah, I mean, the positive, right, is that there's no buys this week. So hopefully people aren't rushing too much to the waiver wire and they've been proactive here. You know, there is some guys out there that have been giving you numbers. You know, Greg Dortch is available in over 60% of leagues, and he's actually been giving you numbers on this Arizona team that seems to match up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next week, and they just allowed plenty of passing yards to the Los Angeles Rams. Then you got Devin Neal kind of coming through the woodwork here. Alvin Kamara is probably going to miss some time. Saints have a really great playoff schedule and a great upcoming schedule just in general. They get Miami this week, then Tampa Bay, and then another Carolina Panthers matchup, followed by the Jets and the Titans. So some interesting guys there. The only other guys I'd say that might be worth looking at if you're looking for some wide receiver help are Jaden Higgins of the Texans. He's still available in a lot of redraft leagues out there and looks like he's finally getting that second half of the year breakout. And then John Mechie, you know, a guy who obviously was super unlucky to get sick early on in his NFL career and bounce around a couple teams, but you watch him pop off for 18.5 fantasy points this week against Baltimore and up against Atlanta, Miami, and Jacksonville and New Orleans, all coming up in this playoff stretch. You've got some easy matchups. So just a couple guys to keep in mind.
Mac Daddy is looking for a flex. Wondering if they should go David Montgomery or any of these receivers, Drake London, Chris Olave, Ted McMillan, or George Pickens.
Yeah, I mean, clearly at this point, you got to be leaning the wide receiver side over Monty. Out of the wide receivers you got, they're all loaded. I'd be going with Pickens or Olave there. I'd hope you'd find a way to squeeze both of them in. Both are top 10 wide receiver options this season on high-powered, you know, situations. Olave is one of the most targeted players in football, regardless of how good the Saints are. And, you know, at the same time, you've got a great production coming from George Pickens in Dallas. He looks like the alpha there, even though CeeDee Lamb's waiting in the wing.
Stan, our guy Tice the Dice, texting into the show saying, I know realistically, if I'm not overthinking it, I have to start Nico Collins, but should I start Troy Franklin against that sorry Commanders secondary? I have Jamar Chase and Pickens already starting at 1 and 2, need a third receiver. Nico Collins or Troy Franklin is the question.
God, you hate to hear it because I do actually love Troy Franklin. I think he's got a ton of upside. Fun fact I was saying on stream just the other day, you know, since Bo Nix entered the league, the Denver Broncos have more passing attempts than any other team in football. Not something I would have guessed based off the eye test, but it is true. That just shows you the amount of opportunities that Troy Franklin's going to have come his way. Now, just because I just talked him up a bunch there doesn't mean I'm going to tell you to sit Nico Collins. Unfortunately, I think you do got to roll him out again here. He's finally been finding his fantasy footing these last few weeks. I think we're rolling Nico Collins with your stats.
People are asking, I'm curious how you evaluate. George Pickens was fantastic the other day against the Eagles. CeeDee Lamb's dealing with some drops. Are you evaluating George Pickens at the 2 spot over CeeDee Lamb if you have both?
I mean, it is tough, right? No, at this point, I think the data is telling you that George Pickens is the alpha in that offense, whether it's the drops from CeeDee Lamb or just the inability for him to capitalize on big plays. Now, the issue is when you have a guy of that talent level, like you do with CeeDee Lamb, that could change any given week, right? So I can't necessarily sit here and say CeeDee Lamb is washed by any means. He's still putting up double-digit performances. Almost gave you 20 points last week, even with a bunch of clear drops. So I think at this point, I look at it more as a 1A, 1B. You know, they both got to be in your lineup. If you're lucky enough to have them both, yeah, start them. Don't worry about it.
Stan Lazinski joining us. He's our fantasy football expert. Find him at dynastypricecheck.com or on social media at dynastypricecheck. Is live there most days. Our buddy Tyler saying Bo Nix or Jared Goff, and then he has one more question, but we'll answer that one first. Bo Nix, Jared Goff.
Give me Jared Goff here. Give me Jared Goff.
And then he also has Bucky Irving or Travis Etienne.
Oof, that's a tougher one, because if if Bucky Irving's going to get a full workload, then I would probably be leaning the Bucky side. But to be completely frank with you guys, the updates we've gotten around his injuries, the lack of communication from Todd Bowles as far as how healthy Bucky really truly is coming back to a full workload, I think I got to play Travis Etienne here, just out of the safety net that they don't still split touches with Rashad White and Sean Tucker and slowly ease Bucky back into this offense.
Stan, people are asking, do you have any like sleeper fantasy defenses that you really like the schedule for the fantasy playoffs?
Defenses?
It's going to win you the league, Ben.
2025, people still playing with defenses? What the hell?
That's what I'm saying. You got to get these defenses out of here, man. This is why I'm always trying to convert people over to Dynasty. You know, you can't be playing defense and kicker and having your season ruined. But, I think if anything, I think you got to give a shout to my boys, the Seattle Seahawks. They're still putting together quite the run here, even though they gave up more points than I expected to the Titans last night. I think outside of that, the Browns, they've had a defense that has forced a lot of turnovers this year. And obviously Myles Garrett's been on a tear these last 2 weeks, putting up 13 sacks in the last 4 weeks. And then on top of that, got to give a shout to our local neighbors just up north. That Los Angeles Rams team is getting it done week in and week out. And so even though they've got a tough schedule coming up here, having to face the Hawks and stuff again, that game was low scoring once. I could see it being a defensive stalemate again.
Look, I do know Stan and I agree on this, but Sammy and I, we're in a work league. It has defenses. It has kickers in it. In 2025, and if your league still has defenses and kickers in 2026, I promise you, add a super flex, kick out the kickers, kick out the defense. You will have more fun. And it's a more skilled game because there are random weeks. Like earlier this year, I think the Steelers had a 40-point game on defense and fantasy. That should not determine whether one of your teams makes it to the postseason or not. Defense is gone. Kickers gone. Skill position players is the way fantasy football should go. Speaking of which, Mac Daddy on YouTube saying Amari and Hampton coming back or Charbonnet this week?
Oh, this is another brutal one. I feel like I'm being very tentative on these injury returns, and I think I am going to still lean Charbonnet ever so slightly. Now, again, it's early in the week, right? It's Tuesday. If I get news on Friday that Amari Hampton is taking a full workload, he's going to be the lead back, everything's looking great, no restrictions, wheels up, then I'll go ahead and change my mind on that one. But for where we are now, I'm going to play a tentative with some of these guys coming back from injury. They've still got, a playoff push to get through here. Let's not rush them too much and roll with Zach Charbonnet, but we'll see.
Stan, how are you evaluating Caleb Williams? He's been playing really good recently, but some of the defenses and teams they've been beaten up on haven't been great. Do you see him as kind of elevating into a fantasy relevant quarterback, or you think it's just kind of matchup based?
Yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately, I'm not the biggest Caleb Williams fan. I'll just own it, but he is quarterback 7 on the season, and the mix of the rushing upside, the rushing touchdowns you've seen him get this season, and now the Bears having some relevancy, pushing to the top of that division, fighting for the playoffs. I think it's inevitable that you do have to pay attention to a guy that's top 10 in scoring and is on a team that's pushing for a, contending playoff run like the Chicago Bears are this season under Ben Johnson. So, yes, Caleb Williams, this breakout is probably accurate, and I expect it to continue as we press through what looks to be a tough schedule with Green Bay, Cleveland, and Green Bay again coming up, and then that San Francisco 49ers defense, which will not go away despite the injuries. I got to tip my hat to Ben on that.
Thank you. Yep, Robert Sala has the young boys starting to cook a little bit here at the end of 2025. We're just gearing up for a playoff push. We got to make sure that the NFC West is represented more than by just the Seahawks and the Rams, because those teams are silly. Now, Stan, when you're putting together your fantasy football lineups over the next couple of weeks, philosophically, are you going with the girl you brought to the dance, or are you going with who has the best playoff matchup?
Yeah, I think it's always a blend, right? I hate to sit on the fence too much, but I always live by and die by start your studs. If you got Derrick Henry and you're debating putting somebody else in there, maybe like a Kenneth Gainwell, I'm going to caution you against it, right? Let's play the guys that have won us championships in the past and trust their ability to get it done. Now, at the same time, if we are talking about players in the same range, that's where this discussion becomes very, very relevant. So I'll give you an example here. if I'm debating, if I'm lucky enough to have a solid running back room and I've got Kyron Williams or I've got Javonte Williams, that's when I'm looking at the matchup and seeing, one's going against Kansas City, one's, going against Carolina. I'm probably going to prefer the Kyron Williams side here and take Carolina. That's where I would be debating my matchup, as long as the two players are in the same range. But if we're talking about starting bench guys versus starting your, guys you drafted in the second round, I'm not paying too much attention to that noise.
Stan, where you going Thursday night? So Joe Burrow back for the Bengals and then Lamar Jackson for the Ravens. Kind of been struggling a little bit. How do you see both those guys going forward?
Yeah, I mean, Lamar is one of the guys that I witnessed him get traded in one of my dynasty leagues today for what I consider to be pennies on the dollar for the 102 in a dynasty startup. He moved for Bo Nix and A.J. Brown today. And I, quite frankly, was scratching my head looking at it saying that is the overreaction of the century. I thought we left those overreactions in week 2. Instead, we're still doing it approaching the fantasy playoffs. But I think Lamar Jackson, that Ravens team now 6-5, they've had quite the resurgence here. He's got every reason to play his heart out every single week. And so just because that hasn't translated the last 2 weeks fantasy-wise doesn't mean I expect that to continue. I think you're locked and loaded to play Lamar Jackson moving forward. On the other side of the house, Joe Burrow, he's coming back from injury. Obviously, you're going to have no T. Higgins this week after the concussion. You will get Jamar Chase back. Chase Brown is healthy. I think I'm tentative a bit on Joe Burrow here. It's not like his protection has gotten any better. So I still expect him to be running for his life and that line to struggle. But I do think Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow, right? He'll give you, low-end QB1 numbers with the occasional QB2 against against a good defense.
Stan Lazinski, all year long. We haven't asked him a single question where he didn't know the answer to. He is truly one of the up-and-comers in the world of fantasy football. Follow him now at Dynasty Price Check. Visit him online at dynastypricecheck.com. Stan, what time are you going live today?
Absolutely, Ben. We'll be live this afternoon, 4 p.m. So hop on over, check us out, and we'll be rolling through the evening. And then, even later this week, if you want to step away from the fam and enjoy some time with the boys, hop through the Dynasty Price Check Discord. We'll be doing a watch party this weekend for all the games coming up.
Just go to the bathroom, shut the door, leave your family in the living room, and watch Stan Lazinski on social media. Stan, you're the best, bro. Thank you.
That's a good holidays to me,
Yeah, DPC.
Got to avoid the family somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. Stan, Thank you, brother. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Appreciate you all year long.
You too, guys. We'll see you next week. Take care. Happy holidays.
Stan Lazinski, dynastypricecheck.com. Seriously, do check it out. His content's fantastic. He's literally doing this all day. He's on TikTok Live, on Instagram Live, answering questions about fantasy football, building a pretty cool community. So go be a part of it. Dynasty Price Check. Also, subscribe to us at San Diego Sports 760 on YouTube. That's what you're listening to right now. We're going to take a quick break, close this thing out. Coming up next, live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long for a final time today. John Schaefer live in Las Vegas coming up next. Sammy, you ready to be really, really disappointed in a man that you and I both love and respect a lot?
What did Jonathan Rifkin do?
Not Jonathan Rifkin, Jonathan Schaefer. Yesterday, John Schaefer comes on the Aztecs pregame show with me. He does it for every Aztecs game. And I'm talking to him. And the first thing I say, John, how much money are you up gambling?
Oh, no. Any
guesses?
Probably just whatever sushi he ate in the desert that night.
He had been in Vegas for a full 24 hours, had not gambled a dime yet.
See, listen,
I really don't get it, man.
And this is with no disrespect to John Schaefer, because I love me some John Schaefer. I know everyone in this room does.
John Schaefer might be one of, if not the most talented radio personalities 100%. I've ever worked with in my life.
100%.
And I worked with Steve Hartman, so that's saying something.
The king of all radio in San Diego.
You're right. Ernie Martinez is the GOAT. Let's be honest.
But the problem is that they send the wrong people out to Vegas. Now, it's probably the right people because Schaefer actually doesn't get distracted, does his job, gets in, gets out. But it feels like a shame when iHeart's paying for a trip to Vegas and he just holed up in his room the entire time. Him and Jim ate sushi last time. Vegas could not be farther from a desert.
I mean, it is a desert, Sammy. I think
farther from the ocean. I mean,
yeah, but Vegas sushi is phenomenal. I've actually been to the place that John and Jim go to. It is unreal. It's very, very good. So we can stop it on the sushi.
What did we do when we were there? We played craps all night.
Yeah, we lost a bunch of money. That's what men do.
That's what men do when they go to Vegas.
We had a great time. We also went to a steakhouse at Circa. Sammy and I had a great time. So. John Schaefer is just, working in Las Vegas, which
Schaefer won't go to a steakhouse as well.
No, he only.
By the way, what happened with that? Because remember, they were on John and Jim.
I will say, we got a unconverted vegan in our midst. Jonathan Rifkin's eating meat again.
J-Rip, hop on here.
Get back on this.
Wouldn't that make me a converted vegan? You also misspoke.
No, you're the right way now. You were converted to vegan. Now you're back to the good team.
So I converted twice. I'm a double converter.
That's why he's all yoked out now. He's got a little protein going on.
By the way, can I just say shame on both of you?
Why?
Because John Schaefer is doing a mentally health conscious decision. He wants to go to Vegas. You just said it, Sammy.
Turn his mic off, Sammy.
You just said it. No, you just said it. You just said it.
He's like 25 seconds away from saying tickling twine.
You just said it. He's getting paid to go to Vegas. Why not just leave Vegas up? Why make it a net loss for yourself losing money?
Listen to me.
Now I have to preach, because last time I got paid to go to Vegas, I was there for the Mountain West Media Days. $2,500 jackpot.
Listen, you don't know what can happen if you don't put your cards in the table.
Do you think that you're up all time?
I do actually.
In casino gambling. Casino gambling.
Betting the NFL, 100% I'm up.
Because of that last trip to Vegas, I think I'm up all time.
Betting the NFL solely, yes.
Sheriff,
listen,
we don't lose here on the Fletch Zone.
What did they say in The Hangover? You never leave the table when you're on a heater.
Bingo.
I lost by being here, guys.
Listen to me.
Who's on your show today?
Steve Quiss and Adam Rank.
Adam Rank would be throwing some craps.
Yeah, Adam Rank has definitely gone to Vegas a few times.
That dude's a chiller. Adam Rank, way cooler than both John Schaefer and Jonathan Rifkin. You'll hear him coming up later today with Jay
Rifkin. You're not a Vegas guy?
No, I've gambled with Jay Rifkin.
Yeah,
I'm a casino gambler. I'm not a sports gambler.
Oh, we got to do both. Weird, one is just an entry point into the other.
And sports gambling, you don't really lose on, so you got to make your money.
And when you're at Circa, you're playing at the tables. You can watch the games. You can watch your sports bet at the same time as you're at the craps table.
Jared, if I tell you what, Sammy and I are already on the books for this. We're going back to Circa. We're putting in another $1,000 to try to win the Circa Survivor. You're coming with us next year.
Okay, thank you.
No, you're coming with us.
I'm
We're putting your money in the pot too.
I'm not an enabler.
Millionaires.
I'm not an enabler.
We got listeners who want to hop in on the Survivor, which I'm very down with.
Actually, I had a beer with a guy the other night. His name's Craig, who listens to our show on a regular basis, and he was asking for the weekend we're going to Vegas.
100%
Craig can come out with us, so he could also put in an entry for Circa Survivor. Can't wait for it. All right, busy night tonight. SDFC Midweek Live coming up at 6. Aztecs pregame coming up at 7. Aztecs basketball coming up at 8. They're taking on Oregon. Going to be a great one out in Las Vegas. John Schaefer next, live from Vegas. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long, thank you all for being here. We'll see you tomorrow.